Well, hello, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm back. I hope you guys are doing fantastic out there. In this video today, I have a brand new offering that I'm so excited to share with you guys from Osight. This is their brand new Osight XR. I'm so excited about this. Without further ado, let's get it on the bench and take a closer look. I think you guys are really gonna like this one. Okay, here we're taking a look at the front of the package. Now this one offers two different dots. So you have a 2 MOA dot and a 6 MOA dot. And both of those dots can be used with or without the 32 MOA circle. So it gives you 5 different options that you can program this optic for. Right here it says patent pending. Here is a look at the side of the box. You can see that it does have their lifetime warranty. Fantastic. On the bottom there is a QR code that'll take you to osight.com. So feel free to pause your screen and scan that if you wish and take you on over there so you could take a look. Right here is the side, and then of course here's some contact information on the back of the package. So this is what you'll see when you get the product. You got that little seal, and the box has a magnetic enclosure right here on the side. So you can open this up, and they have a beautiful display. Thank you for being a part of the Osight family. Your support is the reason we are here. Enjoy, Osight team. That's fantastic. Osight XR. We're proud to introduce the industry's most innovative optic, featuring adjustable reticle size, a magnetic charging cover, and a lifetime warranty. At our core, we listen to our customers and continuously innovate. Osight, see the power. And then it says osight.com. Right here you have a couple things, so we'll go ahead and pull these out. The packaging on this thing is just absolutely fantastic. So you got three little boxes there, and then of course let's pull this out. There's a user manual and some other stuff in there, so we'll set that aside for a second, and let's take a close look at this user manual that comes with this Osight XR. So here's the user manual. You do get a sticker that says Osight. I think that'll go on my water bottle. That's pretty cool. You do get this little card that tells you how to zero the Osight, and not much has changed. It's pretty much the same as it's been. We have the back of the card that gives you just a little bit more information on that. Again, there's a little video there. It's a quick start guide, so you can take a look at that. Just scan that and it'll give you that operation guide video. You do get the safety warnings pamphlet, and then of course the user manual for the Osight XR. Right here it gives you an inventory of what's included in the box. There's some specifications, information there. There's some more specifications, and then it talks about the charging cover, things like that, charging cable, and then it basically goes on into showing you more about the product. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time here looking at this to share it with you guys, but I'm not going to drag on as well. I'm going to get through this fairly quickly, hopefully. The next thing that we see here is figure 4 right there. A little bit of information, figure 5, and then it talks about motion sensor function on figure 6 there, brightness adjustment, and then you can change your reticle switch using figure 8 there. Tells you how to do that. Figure 9, rear sight notch presses in, talks about that. And then how to pop up the rear sight notch on 9.2. That's a new function that this XR has. Figure 10 is the power saving function information. And then figure 11 is your battery indicators. Now this is pretty cool. They have green, yellow, red, and blinking red now. That's pretty cool that they offer that now. And the indicator is right in the center between the positive and negative buttons. That's cool. And then of course right here you have the instructions in English. So feel free to pause if there's any information here that you want to read a little bit longer. Right here we're going to continue on. Great information. They've always done a pretty good job with their user manuals on these products. And then of course right here, that is the last bit of information that we see here in English. Figure 12, how to install the optic. It's pretty self-explanatory. And then how to zero it. Pretty cool. And then of course on the back, it's just different languages. So let's go ahead and take a look at this small box here, or this first box, and see what's included here. So we'll pull this out, and what's here is a cleaning cloth, a lens cleaning cloth that says Osight. So very nice. And then you also have a bag. This is like a little ripstop material type bag, so you could put all your stuff in there, your charger and stuff like that. So that is cool that they include that. The next thing that we see is our box of screws, and then it says right here a screw size reference, 6x32, 4x40, 6x40, and then your M3s. And then of course it gives you the length of each screw and dimensions and stuff like that. So very cool. I've always been impressed how they've presented the screws on these Osights. So you see each one has 6 screws, which is far more than you actually need. You only need 2 screws to mount this thing. 6.32, 4.40, 6.40, and then your M.3s. So very cool. Now this optic, just for, in case I didn't mention it already, this fits the RMR footprint. So you need a larger handgun generally with the RMR footprint for this Osight XR. This thing is a larger optic. So in this box, you got a few things, nothing left in there. So you have their very cool tool. It's got the little Torx here. Hopefully you can see that. And it also has the little flathead screwdriver. It's got this little cool emblem on it like a skull. It says Osight. Pretty cool. I like that. So they include that. They do give you a lanyard, and they brought back the old way that they used to do it by putting the little cotter key thing on there. It makes it very easy to thread this. So very cool. And this lanyard has a rubberized feel to it. Very nice lanyard. I like that. They've done a good job there. You also have the USB-A to USB-C charging cable. And of course it says Osight on it. Very high quality stuff here. You pull this up and everything is right there. So starting here, you have the charging cover. So you charge this, and then this is used in turn to charge the actual optic. So let's take a close look at that. That is beautiful. Right here is all of your information, so feel free to pause if you want to read all of that. You plug in your USB-C there. If you want to look at the bottom, there's the little contact points. You have a button here that tells you in real time what the status of the charging case is. So that is just absolutely fantastic. And right here, we're taking a look at the Osight XR. So we have glass on both ends. So it has a closed emitter. The emitter is inside 2 layers of glass. Very cool. You have this little sight that pops up. So you push it down, push this button, and now not only do you have the optic, but you can use this almost like a rear sight. So you just push it down, it locks down flush, or you can push this little button and it pops the sight up. That is fantastic. This is a nice looking optic. Right here's a look at the bottom of it. This just looks really well built. Right here you have an adjustment for your elevation up or down. So up would be counterclockwise, and then on the side here you have left or right. So counterclockwise takes you to the right and clockwise takes you to the left. So it's very easy. There's your buttons, and that is just a really nice looking unit. Okay, so I've got my USB cable plugged in. Let's plug it into the cover. Now I've dimmed the overhead light because I want to show you something pretty cool. When I push this button, you can see the charging status in real time, and look at this. It says Osight. That's also lit up. That is really cool, the way they've done that and how that looks. As you can see, that thing flashes for 5 seconds. That's that little battery indicator. And when that battery indicator goes solid, it's telling us that charging is complete. Now, when there's not an optic in the charging case, it tells us the status of the battery in the charging case. But when we plug in an optic, so you can see here, I've got the Osight XR. I'm going to drop it in there. Now you see we have a different reading. That's because that's telling me the status of the optic itself. And then if I push the button, it'll tell us, it'll go back and tell us the case. And so it'll tell us the optic, and then it'll tell us the case. And we can use this to charge both at the same time. So it'll charge the case and the optic at the same time. And now charging is complete, so we can disconnect. Now that charging is complete, if you look down into the center of the optic, you'll see that there's no reticle. The unit is not turned on. So if we want to turn the optic on, it's extremely simple. We just locate one of these buttons and very simply just push the button. Very, very easy. You can see the reticle is now illuminated, so the light or the optic is now on. If you want to adjust the brightness, or you want to go dimmer or brighter, it's simple. Just push the plus or the minus and the optic will adjust accordingly. So there you can see the optic right in the center. We're going to push the minus button and the optic gets dimmer. And if you want it brighter, you just push the positive and it'll get brighter. When it flashes, you're at the top or the bottom of the spectrum. Now turning the optic off is a little bit tricky. It's not hard, it's just I have big fingers, but you got to locate both buttons and push both buttons, and then the optic will turn off. So you can see the lit up reticle there. Let me get both buttons and push both buttons, and as you can see, the optic turned off. It's extremely simple. Okay, the optic is off. Let's go ahead and turn it back on. This optic does have what they call a motion sensor function on and off. So that means the optic will automatically turn itself off after 3 minutes of inactivity. So if you want to turn that on or off, you can do that by double pressing and holding the minus button. Okay, so when you'll see the reticle will flash once. When it flashes once, it's on, and when it flashes twice, it's off. So let's go ahead and push and hold. You got to hold it for 3 seconds. There's 2 flashes. So now we turned the motion sensor function off. So at this point, if we want to turn the motion sensor function back on, we're going to locate the minus button right here. And we're going to keep an eye on that reticle. We're going to push and hold, and then we're going to hold it for 3 seconds. So we're going to watch it hopefully flash once. When you see that, now the motion sensor function is turned on, and the optic once again will automatically turn off after 3 minutes of inactivity. This next section is kind of difficult to catch on camera, so I'm going to put my thumb on the minus button. What we're going to do here is we're going to switch the reticles. We have 5 different options. We have the 2 MOA dot, so we can do that by itself. We have the 6 MOA dot by itself. We can do the 2 MOA dot with the circle around it. We can do the 6 MOA dot with the circle around it, or the last one would be the 32 MOA circle by itself. So 5 different options. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to locate the minus button, and let me get that reticle in sight here. So if we just push and hold, you'll see here that it's going to cycle through the different modes. I'm just holding the button down. So we just hold it until we get to the one we want and release the button. So changing the reticle is extremely simple to get it between those 5 different reticles. It's very, very easy to do. I'll try to bring it closer. This is difficult to capture on camera, but you can see that we're clearly switching through the 5 different reticle settings. I'm going to let it off with that, and I think that's a good one. Now we'll locate both buttons, and looking inside, you see the reticle lit up. Let's see, I'm going to push both buttons and turn the optic off. Now this optic does have a power saving function, so when you put the cover on, the optic will automatically turn itself off when placed in the cover. It'll automatically be activated when the cover is removed, and the reticle can't be activated when the optic is turned off manually. So that is very cool. So let's demonstrate that. We're just going to turn the thing on. You can see the reticle's lit up. We're going to put it in the case, and we just have to trust to know that the optic is turned off. And then of course when we pull it out, you'll see the reticle is still illuminated because it turned itself back on. And again, if we want to turn it off, we're just locating both buttons and pushing them both, and you can see that the optic is turned off. This next section, I dim the lights. I want you to be able to see this. I'm very excited about this, and that is the power level indicator. When you turn the optic on, you can see the green power level indicator. That's telling us that the optic is above 50% on the battery. If we get yellow, it's telling us that the optic is between 20 and 50%, and if this is red, it's between 10 and 20%. And in the event that it's flashing red, it's below 10%. Now I do wish that they would have left this on longer, that it wasn't going to turn off so quickly, but it's still there, and it's nice to be able to see in real time what the status of the battery is on this optic. Now at this time, I want to take a moment and talk about the dimensions of this unit. So we'll start with the width of the large viewing window here. That is 0.91 inches or 23 millimeters wide. The height is 0.71 inches or 18 millimeters tall. So it's a large viewing window. This unit is not heavy. It weighs 1.69 ounces. That does include the battery. That's 48 grams of weight. It's made out of aircraft grade aluminum, so 70-75 aluminum. So the dimensions of the unit, it's 1.91 inches long or 48.7 millimeters. The width of the unit is 1.18 inches wide or 30 millimeters, and the height is 1.16 inches or 29.5 millimeters high. It does have the built-in battery. That's a 89 milliamp hour 3.8 volt or it's a 0.344 watt hour battery. This unit does have an impact resistant rating down to 1.5 meters. And I'm happy to tell you that it's IPX7 waterproof, so this thing can go underwater. The working temperature of this unit is also very good. It's 0 degrees centigrade all the way up to 45 degrees centigrade. If you're thinking about those working temperatures in Fahrenheit, that is at freezing, so that's 32 degrees Fahrenheit all the way up to 113 degrees Fahrenheit. So this unit will have no problem working here in the Southwest where I live. Now, let's talk about those 5 modes of operation, and I want to tell you what the run times are. So if you're running the first mode of operation, which is the 2 MOA dot by itself, you get the longest amount of runtime. You get 54,000 hours of runtime. If you do the math, that comes out to 2,250 days. 6.16 years of runtime out of this unit, which is fantastic. Now, if we use the 2 MOA dot in combination with the 32 MOA circle, we get 25,000 hours of runtime. That is 1,041 days or 2.85 years of runtime. That is just crazy. The next option is the 6 MOA dot, and you get 35,000 hours or 1,458 days. That comes out to just shy of 4 years, so 3.99 years of runtime. Now, if you use the 6 MOA dot with a 32 MOA circle in combination with each other, that is the lowest runtime that you'll get out of this unit. That's 22,000 hours or 916 days, which comes out to 2.51 years of runtime. That is the lowest runtime that you'll get out of this unit in its entirety. Now, the last option is the 32 MOA circle. That puts out 27,000 hours of runtime, 1,125 days, or 3.08 years of runtime. So this unit lasts a tremendous amount of time. I would suggest, if you're a person that wants the longest runtime out of this little old battery, just to operate it on the 2 MOA dot. If you can see that clearly, 54,000 hours is no joke. That's 6.16 years. That is just crazy. And while we're talking about this unit, let's talk about the charging cover. This is made out of aircraft grade aluminum. In some places it's 6061 aluminum, and it also has plastic with it. The dimensions are 2.01 inches long, so that's 51 millimeters. It is 1.42 inches wide, or 36 millimeters, and it's 1.65 inches tall, or 42 millimeters tall. It does weigh 1.94 ounces or 55 grams, and it does have a battery in here. This is a much larger battery. You get 800 milliamp hour, so that is fantastic. It's a 3.8 volt battery. The input voltage here for this USB-C, it's 5 volt 2 amps, so it charges fairly quickly. And it also uses it as a charger, so the output voltage of this is 4.45 volts at 0.1 of an amp. Now, when we use this charging cover as a charger to charge the optic, it takes approximately 1.5 hours to charge it, to charge the optic. And charging the charging cover, it takes about 2.5 hours. Again, that requires 5 volt 2 amp or 10 watt power source. So when the power source capacity is not sufficient, the charging times will still work, but they'll take much longer. Well, folks, that's about all I have for you today on this video, taking a look at the Osight XR. I think this thing is fantastic. I love the durability. I love it when they make an optic that has a closed emitter. I love having the glass on both sides. The open emitter works great, but you can get snow or dirt or mud packed in there, and I just don't care for that. I like the closed emitter. I think they did a wonderful job. I love the charging case. I love the digital display, the readout in real time. That is just fantastic. It's a good unit. If you have an RMR footprint, this is a nice unit. I love the addition of the pop-up rear sight. You just push the little button and the rear sight little thing pops up. That is really cool. And if you're not a person that wants to use that, you can easily just push them down and it will lock down and stay out of the way. Good unit. I think they've done a lot of good things. I love the little bag that they include, that you can put everything in this little bag, throw it in the safe with the pistol, and it just works. I like it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got some good useful information out of it. This video was a little bit difficult to film, showing the reticle from the camera lens. It's just hard getting that lined up and keeping it lined up to get those shots. I did the best I could. Hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to leave your comments down below on what you think of this brand new Osight XR. I like it. I think it's fantastic. The glass on the previous versions holds up. They're built to last. Let's not forget that lifetime warranty. So again, please leave comments down below. Let me know your thoughts. Like this video, share this video, and if you're interested in purchasing any of this stuff from Osight, I'll put links down below in the description box. So with all that being said, folks, thank you so much for joining me today on this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you have a beautiful day. We'll see you on the next one. Bye for now, everybody.